And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night. And if you've been here before, you know what that means. It's party time with us. We're the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man sitting beside me, he's the man with the angelic voice. He is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how are you doing, my brother?
Woo, I'm doing great, Munson. It's another Thursday night. We're here together on Ring Respect Radio. Times are good, but Munson, it is winter in Canada now, eh? We got a lot of snow. The temperature is plummeting as to today. We had a nice long fall, but man, it is winter now.
Oh, yeah, and the bitter cold is going to be sneaking its way in here tomorrow. Just for those of you who are joining us for the very first time on this channel, we are going to be talking about a trip through the territories here tonight, stepping into South Texas, San Antonio. Stay with us to find out more about that particular territory. But before we do, Papa Smokes, we talking about that bitter weather that we're going through, but what always warms my heart, warms things up, is being here on a Thursday night with you and our wonderful, esteemed people in the chat. Like BDJ, our good friend BDJ, saying, "What's up, boys?" We also got Mel Ball Collins in the chat here tonight saying, "Good evening, gentlemen."
Mel.
Good evening to you, Mel Ball. And I don't know if you've caught it recently, Pop Smokes, but Mel Ball just dropped another one of her Get Ready With Me episodes. And awesome, as always. Absolutely glad to see it. If you haven't checked it out, that is available over on our channel. It is cold as F out here in E-Town. It is here in Saskatchewan as well, too. We're again a dumping of snow. And I believe what they say tomorrow, Pop Smokes, minus 32 Celsius. And then with the wind chill, we might hit the minus 40 mark tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I haven't read that yet, but, well, it should be interesting, Munson. And for a walker like myself, it gets intense sometimes.
Sorry, yes, Strong Style Fashion. I should have said the name of the show would probably help people discover it as well, too, Mel Ball. So, yeah, Strong Style Fashion, starring the wonderful Mel Ball Collins. You can catch that now over on YouTube. As always, a phenomenal show. And, yeah, you could say it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, Papa Smokes, because it is winter weather around these parts. And we had over at my shoot job today, we had some carolers come in today. That was kind of a nice little treat. One of those carolers happens to be one of the regular young fans that comes to Prairie Pro Wrestling all the time. Didn't see him and his brother out at this most recent show, but he was there singing his heart out today for me and the crew over at Design Smart Security. BDJ saying LS Cino's fundraiser is feeling the weather as is frozen short of its goal, just like his title chance. BDJ dropping zingers here tonight. I love it. Love it.
The viciousness always.
Yeah. Oh, love it, man. Beautiful. Well said. But yeah, speaking of Prairie Pro Wrestling, Papa Smokes, what else keeps us warm here in Saskatchewan is Prairie Pro Wrestling, and we are hot off of season's beatings that took place this past Saturday. And, you know, all the lead up and everything we thought going into it that we've seen in past times, we thought it was going to be Creed getting to cash in his opportunity on Michael Allen Richard Clark, but somebody realized that they still had an opportunity that they were entitled to, and they decided to shoehorn their way into that opportunity at season's beatings, making sure that Creed had to wait it out just a little bit longer. So yes, young Riley Cruz took a crack at the champion Michael Allen Richard Clark this past Saturday, and let me tell you, man, for a guy who's been only a short period in the business, coming out of the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy, he took it to the champion. And oh my God, Pops, folks, the nation had a really different tone about them in this match. They were against Michael Allen Richard Clark this time out. A lot of boos coming his way throughout this matchup, and everybody wanting to see Riley topple the champ and take the title on this night. I was stunned by this, but it ended up being one hell of a singles competition for the title.
Very much so, and I can agree with you, Munson. I was also stunned by that turn of events. I mean, we had two very popular wrestlers, one being the PPW champion, facing each other in this match. I knew the fans would be partisan about it, some leaning one way and some more the other way. Clark's been a very, very popular wrestler in this province and in Canada for a long time, but man, the PPW Nation has really taken to Riley Cruz. I can totally see why as well. He's on the up and up. He's got that young wrestler's energy and charisma that he brings to every match. But wow, the crowd was firmly on the side of Riley Cruz during this match, and like you said, he put in a tremendous effort in this match. Came oh so close to his goal of winning the PPW Heavyweight Championship several occasions throughout this match, but Clark just too much experience. The wily veteran at this point in this match, just eking out the win over a very game Riley Cruz, and then having a nice moment of sportsmanship and celebration with Cruz after the match, really celebrating the effort and the skill of the younger wrestler.
You bet. There would be more to that story we're going to talk about in a moment, but I would be damned if I didn't say hello to our good friend, the Mangler, up in the house, saying, looking good there, Professor Smokes, and yeehaw to you both. Yeehaw to you too, Mangler. Thank you for joining us every week on Ring Respect Radio. Appreciate you, my friend. But yeah, the story unfolds from there, Papa Smokes, because in that moment of pure niceness, we thought this season's beating is going to end on a nice note, a nice hug between the two competitors, the title match that went off well without any interference for the first time in how long in PPW. Then suddenly Jacob Creed appears to make his statement that they haven't crossed paths in a long time, him and Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and he's already decided when he's going to cash in his opportunity, and that is going to be on Saturday, February the 21st, our very first show of 2026. And when we announce it, you're going to make me say it. Get your tickets, PPW Nation, because you're not going to want to miss out on the next show. The announcement isn't officially out there. The tickets are coming soon. Stay tuned to the PPW socials to find out when they are available. You will get to see Jacob Creed and Michael Allen, Richard Clark for the championship belt. And I'm telling you, Papa Smokes, the last time these two gentlemen stepped inside of a ring, all hell broke loose.
Oh, yes. These two have crossed paths before in the early days of this company, PPW, and what a feud they had. We talked previously about the beginnings of some of that feud, innocuous enough, just in a regular match against each other, but tempers flaring, cowboy boots rubbed across foreheads, various things. It's a little bit of blood flowing, and the boys got hot. That set up the big lights out, no disqualification match between the two that capped off that first year of PPW running. And wow, was that an intense match? Did that have some awesome moments? People go back and watch that on YouTube. Michael Allen Clark versus Jacob Creed, no disqualification. Munson, you and I get some insanely good camera shots during that match, if I do say so myself. But all credit to the performers. They left nothing behind in this match and went 100% vicious pit bull on each other. And well, I'll let you see the results. But now is a new day, and these two are going to tangle again. And times have changed in that 5 years since it's elapsed, since that have elapsed since that last match I was talking about. And I don't know what to expect. These are two powerhouses in PPW that are on a collision course. We're going to see it in February. Can't wait for that one, Munson. This time with all the gold on the line, too.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be something special. Speaking of gold on the line, on this very card as well, too, Papa Smokes, the tag team titles were on the line as the other two members of the Brotherhood teamed up this time. Dixie Dragon and Wrestling Smartest Man, Bucky McGraw, went up against the Short Kings for the titles. And I'd like to say that the Short Kings kept their victory streak going, but instead, they didn't lose the belts, but they did lose the matchup via disqualification. Reed Matthews shocking everybody when the Book of Re-Education was thrown into his very hands, and he thought, screw it, and he smashed it across the head of Bucky McGraw right in front of the referee. It seems like there might have been a little bit of unease there with Mars the Specialist, maybe kind of giving a look to his partner like, why'd you do that, bro? Like, we've been on fire. We've been so hot in this company since we got here. Why did you need to go down that path? There was that little bit of a stare down. There's still that brotherhood, and it's hard to shake that even when a brother does something really stupid. Sometimes you still have that level of forgiveness for them, but you could just see a little bit of that. Mars realizing like, we didn't need that. That's not us. But something got over Reed Matthews in that matchup, and he went for it, Papa Smokes. He ended up going and taking the DQ here to hold on to the titles this time.
And I know everybody knows Reed didn't plan for that to happen. He didn't want to lose the match by disqualification. But I can also understand the Short Kings having some frustration towards the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood have been getting in Short King's business for a while now, always with that one man advantage, the 3-on-2 of the Brotherhood over the Short Kings. And that's what happened in this match, I think. Brotherhood up to their old tricks. That book of re-education being thrown into the ring. And, Bucky likes to hit that DDT on top of the book. It's almost unbeatable for pinning their opponents and getting that dirty win sometimes. But I think Reed Matthews, when that book fell right into his hands, just thought, what the hell? I'm going to give them a taste of their own medicine. I'm angry. I'm vengeful. I want to use this. I want to hurt them the way they always try and hurt us. Unfortunately, the ref seeing it, giving the Brotherhood that disqualification victory. Now, does that put the Brotherhood another step closer towards a tag team title shot? We will also see.
We will. As Melball saying, an angry thickness is a fun thickness to watch, and any man who walks around going violence, violence, violence all the time, has got that streak in him, and we know sometime it's gonna come to the surface big time, and people can't wait, especially when you get smacking sounds that are very satisfying, as the Mangler would say, very satisfying indeed. I mean, I'm sure any sound of Bucky's noggin getting cracked with something is going to be satisfying for the BPW Nation. I mean, you could crack just about anything across Bucky McGraw's head. You could crack your breakfast eggs across his head, and you're going to get a pop from the BPW Nation.
Yeah, I agree with that. My personal pick would be like an old, soft, half-rotten pumpkin. That's what I would like to hit over his head.
Now that would be some form of entertainment, Papa's folks. I think we've got something to build towards for the next Ring of Horrors right there. I think some pumpkin smashing sounds like a delight.
Yeah, an old jack-o'-lantern. He just splat right over the head. That'd be great.
Oh, I love it. We got to talk to the team here, Papa's folks. I think we're brewing up something fun for the next Ring of Horrors already, but we're a long way from that. February will be the next show. I don't have a show name just yet. The show poster's not out. We just know it was announced at the show. We know tickets will, I'm assuming, probably right around the start of January. We're going to let everybody enjoy their holiday season. We're going to probably open up tickets right off the start of January, just as everybody gets those credit card bills and goes, I spent way too much damn money this Christmas season, but you're still going to find $30 to come out to Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Very much so. Yeah, that's got to be in the Christmas budget too. So hope everybody out there takes the little bills out of their cards that they got from grandma and all that, put it to good use. Come to see some local independent pro wrestling. Yeah, you can watch it on TV, but there's no substitute for a live show. You can come and see people from your own city, your own province, wrestling in the ring right in front of you, and get to feel that little feeling of community with all the other wrestling fans too. Oh, I love the way in our venue they just come together, build off of each other's heckles and chants and cheers and signs and all that stuff. We got a great thing going here, so don't miss any of the action. February 21st, you said, Munson?
February 21st, Saturday, February 21st, right before the Megadeth concert in Saskatoon as well, too, Pop Smokes. It's going to be a busy-ass week, but I'm going to enjoy every second of it. You damn well know that. And yeah, I can't wait already. I mean, we're just past this December show, and I'm already getting excited for February to roll around, and it's gonna come sooner than we think. It's gonna roll up so fast, and we're gonna be ready to see the nation out in full as always there. And I want to take a moment to thank the nation for this time out, for making our toy drive the most successful that it's ever been. We always do the toy drive so that people in need get toys at Christmas time, and you, Saskatoon, you nation, brought the most toys that you have ever. I think they doubled what we donated last year. In fact, Papa Smokes, it was that much greatness, that much heart being put in by the nation. What a great community we have. And from the bottom of our hearts, absolutely a big, massive thank you, nation, for showing up like that. Absolutely appreciate it. But
well,
yeah,
we had a few bins by the door, quite large size bins to collect the toys. And by the time everyone was coming in before the show had even started, those bins were just mounded all over the top. They were all full and piled all the way up with toys. Really, just tip of the hat to you, PPW Nation. You are charitable in a time where we should all care about each other at Christmas time when it's cold. Love your nice hearts, PPW Nation. Thank you so much.
You bet. And also, even if you come to a show live or you're not able to make it to a show live, please watch PPW over on YouTube, because those watchtowers, we need those to keep on the rise. So if you have an opportunity to do so, check out Prairie Pro Wrestling over on the YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling, and we very much appreciate it. But Papa Smokes, we don't just talk about Prairie Pro Wrestling on this show. We don't just talk about indie wrestling on this show. We also talk about the history of professional wrestling with our favorite. It's a trip through the territories. And once again, this one in particular is by request from our good friend, Brett Martinez. Yes, he requested the San Antonio legacy to be mentioned on this one. And I know he'll be watching after the fact, because right now with the time difference, OVW wrestling happens to be on live right now. And I know he is a dedicated hardcore OVW fan, and I will never take that away from him. You go show them the love and come back and give us a watch afterwards. We appreciate it just as much. So, Brett, this one's for you. We are going to San Antonio, and I'm going over to Papa Smokes to give a little lay of the land, a little bit of the background on San Antonio.
Sounds good. You know, San Antonio wasn't one of the territories that we had on our original list, Munson. It's not a huge organization or anything like that, but by request from a Texas boy himself, Brett Martinez, I think it is a good suggestion that we should do, because we should just try and get as many of these cool independent territories that we can. We've already looked at Dallas and Amarillo in Texas, so let's take a look at San Antonio. Excuse me. Right off the bat, San Antonio is the second most populous city in Texas, the seventh most populous city in the U.S. Didn't know it was that big. Did you know it was that big, Munson? There's some pretty big cities in the U.S. I wouldn't have thought San Antonio was among them. But it has about 2.76 million people in its metropolitan area, so pretty spread out, pretty big population. It was founded in 1718 as a Spanish outpost named for St. Anthony. It is a key military hub with Fort Sam Houston, Lackland, and Randolph air bases. So many people living there work for the military. Before it was called San Antonio, the Payaya people lived there and called it Yanaguana, which translated into English is refreshing waters, due to the San Pedro freshwater springs. It has a humid subtropical climate. Main flora are mesquite and cacti. Has mild winters and long, hot, humid summers. Predominantly Christian Baptist population. One of the big tourist attractions is the Alamo, which was the scene of a large battle against Mexico in 1836. The Alamo Fort was overrun by Mexico and is still a symbol in Texas, a symbol of bravery. You've heard this saying, of course, remember the Alamo. Never let it happen again. Be brave in the face of adversity. For sports teams, they have the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA. And music and culture and food are hot tickets in San Antonio, with a large Mexican influence in all those areas. So in Southwest Texas, this sounds like a fun town. Munson, would you like to visit San Antonio, especially if you could watch some wrestling?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, to be honest with you, Pops, there are not a lot of places that I wouldn't have some curiosity want to check out to some degree. I love learning about the history of places. I love going to places, and more than anything, I enjoy trying the different foods from different areas and stuff like that as well too. Finding out what kind of cuisines people like in the different areas. Absolutely one of my favorite things.
Very much so. Very much so. Again, we always pipe dream about this once, but we got to take a boys wrestling trip one of these times and go watch something.
Yeah, get to some of these other independents and stuff like that. Get to them in person. That would be the best way to go and check out some of the pro wrestling history while we're at it. I think we can make a fun trip out of that. But San Antonio doesn't happen, Papa Smokes, especially in the wrestling area, without the Blanchard family, in particular. Joe Blanchard, a legitimate athlete. He was an NCAA standout professional football player and also a rugged, respected professional wrestler as well too. Let's talk a little bit more about Joe and the formation of this particular territory.
For sure, Joe Blanchard was born in 1928, died 2012. Like you said, was a standout wrestler and football player at Kansas State University. Won the Big Seven Conference Wrestling Tournament in 1950. Boy, you can tell when a guy's old when he's a grown man in 1950. Some of these dates are wild, but
Yeah.
he transitioned to pro football, but up in Canada. You got a nice Canadian connection here. Blanchard played for the Edmonton Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. When he was done with football, he started pro wrestling and wrestled for Calgary Stampede and Stu Hart.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the way even a history of Texas wrestling has that little sliver of Canadian influence in it as well. How cool. But
Can't go wrong there.
for sure, he had a long career as a wrestler, 25 years. He had great success working in Hawaii for 50th State Wrestling. Now, that's another company that's on our list for trip through the territories that I'm kind of excited to get to. Hawaii, that will be a fun one to do, and some wacky stuff that happened out there too. But he had always been more of a southern-based wrestler once he left Canada. This is Joe Blanchard, of course, we're talking about. He was wrestled in southern states for NWA affiliated companies, including NWA Texas. And then in 1978, he formed Southwest Championship Wrestling and then wrestled his last year as an active competitor in 1978, presumably helping to get the company off the ground, and the company which was going to service the fans of the southwestern Texas area, but also as a springboard for who was going to be his big superstar, Joe Blanchard's son. We all know him well, Tully.
Yep, very much so. Now, to go from there, we were talking about the formation of Southwest Championship Wrestling. I every time I kept coming to this point, we talk about some of the arenas and some of the places that things were held. We got TV studios, we got massive arenas and stuff, but this one kind of spoke to me because you always talk about the smells of a venue, the sounds of a venue, and all this kind of stuff, especially when we're talking about PPW or independent wrestling. Well, I mean, this kind of gave me that feel when we talk about something like the Junction, which was not glamorous by any means. This was kind of a smoky hall that was converted from an old grocery store and ballroom, if I'm not mistaken, that was then turned into what they would use for some of the matches that they would put on in this territory.
For sure, the Junction was the TV studio in which they filmed their TV show, Southwest All-Star Wrestling. And I know, Munson, you watched a couple episodes of this over the last week as well. There are a couple of playlists on YouTube, at the very least, that show converted from VHS tape the entire shows of All-Star Wrestling Southwest. What did you think of the presentation of their show?
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job for what it was at the time and everything like that. Like, they had a nice TV show, and this is probably why. And again, I put this on the thumbnail for this one here today. they were the first to get onto the USA Network because of what they were doing. They were the first wrestling company to do that. So when people think of the USA Network and the connection to professional wrestling, they now have to start to look at this because this was the first company to do it. Joe Blanchard was the first one to get television or wrestling television onto the USA Network. And this was massive. And they did it because they seemed to know what they were doing when it comes to putting together a pro wrestling show.
Yeah, very much so. That's kind of what I was thinking too, is it's not especially fancy. There's not a whole bunch of bells and whistles about this TV show. It's a lot like many of the other ones we watched while doing this series, Trip Through the Territories, of the local TV product that's broadcast. This is, of course, before broadband internets and all the rest of it. It would be broadcast on a local level in San Antonio, Texas. I've got the TV station here. KENS TV was the main station that filmed and edited and broadcast the show, but it went out as far as the TV signal would allow it. So it would get the whole San Antonio area, and probably the signal would reach to some smaller towns on the outlying area of San Antonio, but not all that much further. So that's where you did your advertising, was all locally based businesses and your sponsors and all that stuff. And then you were trying to gain local and immediate area fans. So cleverly done. And the Junction as a venue, I also think, is a very clever place to hold your TV tapings because it holds 400 people. So it's a slightly, more than slightly, I would say it's probably double the crowd of a lot of those other studio TV taping wrestling shows, so that when the heat comes and the finishes happen, the crowd is very loud. So it's like a spot show or a house show, but it's the TV tapings. So you get big energy from the crowd in their tapings. It looks like a bigger crowd by the cameras. You don't see, of course, there's not giant stands and everything everywhere, but like 400 people, that's pretty good. They can make a lot of noise for your product on TV.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the local TV was one thing, but then that deal with the USA Network took them across the US. Like they got notoriety for being seen across the US long before anyone else did it, long before Georgia did it, long before the Dub did it. These guys trailblazed and did it first.
And another thing I like about Southwest All-Star Wrestling is that being in the South Texas, it's very near to Mexico. There's a large Hispanic population in that area and among their fans who attend the shows. So did you notice, Munson, watching that, sometimes on the commentary desk, it would be the Spanish announcer would sit right next to the English guy, but they would each have a separate mic. So you could probably hear each guy on the other one's feed, but they had no more room. They had no other way to do it. So they were doing English and Spanish commentary like 4 feet apart kind of thing. Same thing with when wrestlers would cut promos in the back, standing in the back with an announcer, a stick man, as I like to call them, an announcer holding a microphone for them. There'd be the English-speaking guy that would ask the questions. Then there'd be another announcer on the other side with a microphone. That's the guy that's going to translate it into Spanish and do the Spanish announcing, because their other feed would be, of course, for the Spanish-speaking audience. So very cool, just those little different things that happen in different parts of our continent due to language and such. I'm sure over in Quebec, there's a similar situation going on with things like that too. Commentary for sports events, wrestling events, having to be in both languages.
Yeah, definitely. That wasn't just the small arena. That was just where they taped. So then they did bigger arenas as well too, holding things at the Hemisphere Arena, which was the old home of the San Antonio Spurs, and of course the historic Freeman Coliseum as well too.
Very much so, and they also did a little tour throughout Southwest Texas there, where they would go to the other cities including Austin, Abilene, down in Galveston as well, and just like any other territory wrestling company, or really any wrestling company that has the means to do so, if you've got another ring, take it on the road and take your crew. Maybe sometimes it'll be your B crew, sometimes it's your A crew, but you make the circuit of the small towns and you build up your fandom there, and you can make money off of those spot shows, but also investing in creating new fans who will be in San Antonio at some point, going to those shows, watching your show on television if they can get the feed, and becoming new fans of your product. So just working all the time, and getting a winning product out there.
You bet. Anything else there, Pop Smokes? Are you ready to talk about some of the roster that kept this territory interesting and thriving?
Let's do it, Munson. They had all the greats came through San Antonio as well.
You bet. Yeah. And let's start at the top. Obviously, Tully Blanchard was the name we said earlier on. I mean, this guy was young, athletic, could be a natural heel, sometimes worked as baby face depending on the week. But if there's one time he was definitely the baby face in this territory, and that was against his greatest rival, someone who we've said the praises of many, many times here on this channel before, one Gino Hernandez was one of the greatest rivals to Tully Blanchard that graced across this territory.
I mean, what a great thing that those two were alive and active at the same time, and could really just meet up in the ring, because Blanchard, a great talent, a second generation star. Joe had him ready to go, ready for the ring. And Tully, of course, was already he was a star high school and college quarterback on his football team. He already had that cocky edge to him. So Joe and the other boys knew this guy's got to be a heel. Yeah, he had his moments where he went babyface over the years as well, but Blanchard's so effective as a heel. Then you bring Gino Hernandez in, and he's a natural heel too. My God, he was going to be so good. It's such a tragedy that he left us so early in life, but he was going to be one of the next big things. And do yourself a favor, if you've never watched much of his stuff, go back and watch it. His stooging heel work is just lovely, and he gets the crowd so riled up, and he stalls, and he breaks the rules, and he's arrogant, and he thinks he's beautiful all the time. And he was really quite a special talent, a guy that really got the psychology of being a heel, and the psychology of just interacting with the fans and just building heat in a building until they're just screaming for him to be beaten down.
You bet. Yeah. They had some real heat magnets in this territory. Like, again, we want to talk about heat magnets. They had the Sheephearders. The Sheephearders ran through San Antonio at times. And, for those who haven't checked out some of our previous shows or might not be familiar, the Sheephearders are the Bushwhackers back before they were ever bought up by the W and made into the Bushwhackers. They were one of the most vicious, violent, absolutely terrifying heel tag teams in the history of professional wrestling. The Sheephearders, man, like those matches that you had me watching there changed my perspective on what I knew about professional wrestling at that particular moment, because I had what I had from childhood up till there. And then you started teaching me some of the stuff about the history, Pop Smokes. And I think it was in that exact moment when it went back on the Sheephearders and realized, oh man, there's a world of professional wrestling I never learned yet, and that I want to explore and learn. And that opened my eyes big time at that point.
Oh, we're all in that position too. I mean, you remember wrestlers from when you first saw them and when you first started watching them. And for many remembering Butch and Luke as the Bushwhackers, perennial undercard comedy tag team from the WWE, but how different it was before that. Their whole career before that was just as foreign heels, like militaristic kind of heels that did all kinds of gimmick matches with barbed wire and tables and all kinds of stuff like that, but just old school cheating and eye raking and eye gouging and all that stuff. And they have
Forks to the forehead.
absolutely, absolutely. They were also one of those traveling tag teams internationally, being from New Zealand, of course, but they came and they ripped up North America, including Canada and also Puerto Rico and all that, and Mexico as well. I mean, they were just promoters who could print money off of those guys because you just couldn't ask for a better heel tag team, especially one as experienced as them and who could carry a feud over numerous shows or numerous months in a certain promotion if they hung around for a while. Looks like they were in San Antonio for some time. Had the pleasure of seeing a few of their matches as I was preparing for this show, watching some of Southwest All Star Wrestling. Boy, the Sheephearders, just one of my favorites. The blueprint for some future heel tag teams for sure.
You bet. A couple more names before I talk to you about a couple of the unsung heroes. Name that some people might be a little bit more known for. José Lothario, who was a legend of the area and teacher to the generations. More in particularly, I would have remembered as a kid growing up when he was the quarterman for Shawn Michaels going into that match with Bret Hart for the Iron Man matchup. That was kind of when we found out about that background and learned more about him. But knowing that, he had this career before that, and especially now with the historians out there that have gone and added some of this tape to YouTube and everything, it's great that we can actually go back and be able to witness some of the greatness that was somebody of the likes of José Lothario.
For sure. Lothario got around quite a bit in his career too. I'm sure there's a fair amount of tape on him, but again, he never rose to that superstar status whatsoever. He would have been very famous in Texas for sure as a mid to upper card guy for sure. Long and storied career and trained lots of people too. But yeah, his stuff is out there if you want to watch it. He was like a hometown Texas hero type guy.
You bet, yeah. And another big name, obviously, people are going to be familiar with is Chavo Guerrero, who brought the lucha influence into the Texas area. We've talked about that before with the Texas area, the heavy lucha influence, and of course, the Guerrero name being tied to that as well.
For sure. And they're not only you're talking about Chavo Sr., of course,
Yes,
and
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
there's many Guerreros amongst that family. They are from Texas as well, so they would have been all over San Antonio wrestling and that circuit that we talked about. Also, a lot of journeyman wrestlers back in the 70s and 80s would have been making those tours as well on their own. Now, Texas is a big state. That's a lot of driving, but you could do Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Amarillo as the main promotions, and then probably numerous other smaller promotions along the way as well. So if you were if you were a big money guy, a top of the card guy, you could probably have your choice and do your dates whenever you wanted to. If you were a job guy or a mid card guy, you could still get a lot of work done there. It would just be a lot of driving. You'd be making the circuit all the way around.
Yeah, hands down. I want to talk about a couple of names here, because we're not going to, I mean, there's a lot of names we can go through, but a couple of names that came up here, Papa Smokes, that maybe more the unsung heroes of this particular territory. In fact, one of which is Eric Embry, who was kind of a great heat magnet and definitely a workhorse of the area at the time.
Yeah. Embry probably was more famous for his work in Dallas, but he's a big Texas boy. I don't think he worked all that many other places. He's really famous for, I know, as being an opponent of the Von Erichs up in Dallas. But yeah, for sure, a Texas mainstay in pro wrestling for sure. Eric Embry, he eventually was in WCW for some time, wasn't he? Probably towards the end of his career.
A little bit, I believe.
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, we got Ed Fries joining us now in the house. Hey,
Yo, Ed.
Papa Smokes and Munson. Thanks for joining us, Ed. Really appreciate that. Even if you don't give me the warmest of welcomes all the time, we'll still take it. One more name we'll go through here, Papa Smokes. Dependable veteran that they had in the area, was always good at making others look great, and that was Scott Casey. Very dependable individual for this territory.
Very much so. And Scott Casey was a guy that they brought up. He's a homegrown Texan star also, and they wanted to bring him up. He's a handsome guy, had the good physique and everything. So I think probably any promoter was looking at him as like, I can throw this guy in there as a baby face and he'll get the crowd with him for sure. He also never really rose to any kind of stardom, so to speak, but was a I don't think all wrestlers should be aspiring to be a superstar either. There's many jobs to be done, no pun intended, in the wrestling business, and one of them is doing jobs. So when I talk about being a job guy, especially in the territory system, it's not an insult. I never mean that as an insult. That was a steady job and a very, very important job. Job guys are completely necessary in the world of pro wrestling. So once again, maybe you didn't have the stuff to be an upper card or main event guy. You would probably know that. You would be told that by employers and other wrestlers. Doesn't mean you can't be a dependable, solid, steady job guy. And guys made livings driving around to all around all the different promotions. They always need job guys. They're indispensable to the wrestling business. So I never speak poorly of them when I say stuff like that. Of course, you aspire to get better than that, but there's no shame in being a job guy. It's absolutely needed. And as much as any promoter needs superstars and big names to sell seats and make money, you also need job guys that put over your stars and make them look good, equally important in the whole thing. So, yeah, the job guy is extremely valuable in any company.
You bet, yeah. Was there any other names in particular you wanted to mention about from this roster here, Papa Smokes?
Not really. They didn't even doesn't even sound like they had a super firm roster to them. In Southwest Wrestling, it sounds like they used, obviously, with its closeness to Mexico, they use lots of luchadors. Um, not don't just mean luchadors, not just masked wrestlers, but Mexican-based wrestlers who would come up and work, and then local Texas talent as well, and then bringing in superstars to sell tickets and such. Sure, you noticed some of them on All Star Wrestling months, and they would always show some of their taped matches from the Junction, and then usually at least portion of a big match at Hemisphere Arena or one of the larger buildings they ran. You would have seen Jack Briscoe, Terry Funk, Bruiser Brody, Abdullah the Butcher, Nick Bockwinkel was on some of those. So they had big stars coming in. Those would help to sell the tickets, but ultimately the whole show propped up on the back of the local guys and made the shows designed to like promote and push the local guys as well.
You bet, yeah. So why the downfall of this particular territory? Well, I mean, it seems to be the age-old story that we talk about with any of the downfall when it comes to the territory times, Papa Spokes. National expansion was happening rapidly. The WWF was coming in and taking over every single territory you could think of. Crockett was expanding. Bill Watts was pushing the UWF hard. And there just wasn't any financial stability with the deal with the USA Network for this particular territory. So in the end, Joe Blanchard actually sold the territory and the promotion to Fred Barrand. I hope that pronunciation is correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, Papa Smokes.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure, but that'll do for now for sure.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and then he ended up rebranding things into Texas All-Star Wrestling at that point in time. So that was it's kind of where it ended up going in terms of the fall of this particular short run. And one of the shorter runs when it comes to the territories that we've covered here, this was definitely one of the shorter runs in terms of the entire history of this particular territory.
Yeah, well, they really only had 7 years under Joe Blanchard, and then that after he sold it, it only lasted one more year under the other name. So yeah, nothing particularly scandalous or shocking or anything like that about this company or its demise. It just business in the mid '80s was starting to get tough for the territory companies. Like you say, national expansion and access to cable deals was the new future for wrestling, and Vince McMahon, his big pocketbook was all over that. And he, like we say, I've read and heard about so many territory promoters saying it was so good when we all cooperated together because we didn't have to compete. We could share and we all made money. But once Vince McMahon Jr. got in there, he didn't ascribe to the same thing that his father had, sharing and everybody being stronger. Vince Jr. wanted it all under one banner and wanted it all to himself. So he started opening up the pocketbook, uh, luring the best wrestlers from all the independent companies and all the territories up to New York with offers of more money and such, and then leaning on the local cable TV channels to only carry his product and to abandon the local product that they had shown. And McMahon ascribed to that same sort of business philosophy like many of the cutthroat corporations do nowadays, such as a Starbucks coffee or something like that. When they go to expand, they look for a new building in which to put their new store. They don't want just any building. They want one that has a local coffee shop in it, so that not only do they open up their own shop, they close up the local one that used to be there, eliminating that competition permanently. This is exactly the business model that Vince McMahon used. It's very successful. It's very smart to do it that way. Business, of course, can't have human feelings, and a lot of people run it without that sense of human feeling, but that's how McMahon did it. Cutthroat like that. I'm not just going to take over your shit. I'm going to shut down your companies. I'm going to make sure you never run again so that there's never any kind of a threat in this area of competition ever again.
Yeah. A vicious way of going about business, but not going to lie, I'm in business myself, Bob Spokes, and I'm not going to kid you. If I find a way that I can shut down my competition, I'm going to find a way to shut down my competition because I want to be the person that people rely on. I don't want somebody else to be in that area and everything. So you got to find the way, and that's what we do. That's just how it is. We do it. It happens in modern wrestling. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's a lot of companies open up with the intent that they don't want other companies running in their particular city.
Yeah, well, you don't, right? Like, especially if your city is not tremendously large, right? So how many people are going to be in your regular wrestling audience in any city? But do you want to start dividing that number now between the various companies running there? No, I get it. I totally understand the business model and that is the way it's done, but you can't help but feel sad for some of the companies, some of the things that could have been maybe if the territories had kept running like before.
Oh, 100%. So, final thoughts on this particular territory. Again, one that came from request from Brett Martinez, one that wasn't originally on our list. So, a quick stop off somewhere by request. What were your final thoughts here, Papa Smokes?
I like it a lot. I haven't honestly watched or particularly purposefully watched San Antonio wrestling very much. It's good. It's very good. Like I love all Texas wrestling, but I really like their TV show from the Junction. That I didn't take a note of the commentator's name, but he was quite good, and the whole production value and the presentation of the matches on their TV show I thought was excellent. And this review comes after we just did St. Louis. It was kind of the same idea. Very few bells and whistles and fancy stuff about the presentation of this show. It's just straight ahead TV match promo, TV match promo, and then at least snippets of one of the big matches from whatever their most recent large show would have been at Hemisphere Arena or wherever it happened to be. This was good. This also reminded me of when we reviewed Vancouver wrestling as well. Same type of thing. Have a have a heel come on commentary sometimes and cut little promos promoting his next match coming up. All that stuff. It was good. It had a Texas flavor to it. They like to run the whole thing where each card would have a lot of local Texas and Mexican wrestlers, and then some stars from outside of Texas who would be the invaders kind of thing. And then the Texas wrestlers would be wrestling for state pride. Like that's so it's a winning combination for any wrestling program is just to have your hometown heroes fighting against the the stars and the jerks that come in from other wrestling companies think they're going to walk all over us in our town. No way. Our local boys are going to step up to them, stand up to them. It's a great model, and companies still use that because it's a winner.
Yeah, excellently said, Papa Smokes. I'm really glad we got recommended this one and got it to add it to the list
Yeah.
because any opportunity to add more of this wrestling history to the list of Trip Through the Territories is a great opportunity. So thank you to Brett for the great shout out here on this particular episode. Hope you enjoyed it, my friend. And as we're starting to wrap up too, Papa Smokes, I want to give a few quick shout outs to regular listeners here on Ring Respect Radio who always listen in but don't necessarily get the opportunity to be in the live chat. So I know they're going to be tuning in. So I want to say a quick shout out to our good friends over at the PPW Academy, Kevin, Veronica, Zach, and of course newcomers to that academy, Nikki and Sean as well too, who have tuned into the show and been supporting us in the background. Shout out to all of you. Keep working hard at the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy and earn your way into a PPW ring or some capacity of being there. But it was great to see the academy expanding. That was one of the greatest things, Bob Stokes. I'm getting to walk in every time, and you get in there, and there's all of these different, aspiring pro wrestlers or people aspiring to be in the business that are busting ass and working hard. You got the officials that are there every time working their asses off as well too. We have got an amazing team that doesn't always get the opportunity to have that praise, and I taken this opportunity right now on this platform to give a shout out to them all and appreciate everything that every single one of you does, not only to support Prairie Pro Wrestling, but to support myself and Papa Smokes right here on Ring Respect Radio, just like the people that come here live every single Thursday night. It means the world to us both.
Oh, well put, Munson. I double those thanks and those shout outs as well. And not only is it great to see the PPW Wrestling Academy turning out some younger wrestlers that will be ready for the ring at some point, but you can feel it when you walk into the shows these days too. They're scurrying about. They're trainees, so they're there for the show. They're there to do whatever needs to be done for the show, and you can feel the energy, you can feel the enthusiasm, you can feel things building up. And I'm excited to see some new debuts over the next while. We've done very well with PPW Academy so far. Our first two big graduates, but we've got more in the works too. Can't wait to see them mature to the point where they get in the ring and start having matches. It's going to be awesome.
Well, 3 graduates because we just called the first singles match tonight of one
Yeah.
Chris Nasty as well too. So we've had 3 graduates come out of that academy, done very well. And also a big thank you from myself and Bob Smokes goes out to Warren, who's been joining us on the camera team there at Prairie Pro Wrestling. You've been working your ass off all year with myself and Papa Smokes, and I just got to say thank you for busting ass and doing that. Really do appreciate it very much. But that's enough ass kissing for tonight. Papa Smokes, I'm going to put your beautiful ticker up there. I'm going to get you to tell the people where they can find out where you're at next and where they can reach you if they want to chat some more wrestling.
All right, sounds good. I can always be found and seen on this very show you're watching, Ring Respect Radio, every Thursday evening. Other than that, I can be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at smokes_papa. Also, allegedly on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
All right, that's where you can find Big Papa. As for myself, Bobby Munson, down below at Real Bobby Munson on the X, Instagram and Threads, Video Bros SK. That Twitch, Video Bro _ Bobby Munson, Blue Sky. It's BobbyMunson.bsky.social. That's where you can find me. But where you can find me next, if you enjoy watching me on screen, you can join me this Sunday with myself and Andre C, potentially Ed Fries, as we're bringing you the weekend sports over on Point of View. It airs at 11 a.m. Eastern Time right here on OLE Podcast. You can also catch myself and Papa Smokes every single Saturday over at the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, where we are your commentary team for a brand new matchup. And you're going to want to watch this Saturday because we talk about Academy graduates, and it's about the Academy graduates over the next few weeks here, Papa Smokes, as we're heading into that Christmas time. We appreciate everybody who joined us in the chat, including the Mangler. Thank you for always being here every single week. Absolutely appreciate you, my friend. And yes, you can find all the shows that we do here, our show over the Video Bros Network. We're also right here on OLE Podcast. You can find OLE Podcast on that ticker down below, all the socials. If you got any value out of what we brought you here tonight, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment in the comment section down below. Always reading those comments, always looking to get back to you, the wonderful people who support us. But that's it for this week on Ring Respect Radio. Bob Smokes and I will be back next week with It's Trivia Time. Yes, next Thursday trivia. Stay tuned for that, and we will see you in 1 week's time. Take care.